Hello and welcome everyone to this class. In today's class, we are going to talk about the data and the types of data we have in Python. So what are data? Data are simply the streams of information that we send to the computer to be able to be manipulated to give us an expected output. So the types of data in programming refers to the classification of the different types of information that we impute into the program or into the system. Each type of data has specific features and operations that can be performed on it. So it is crucial to understanding the types of data present in a programming language because it helps developers to manage memory efficiently. So different types of data require different amounts of memory to store them. So by understanding the types of data, the programmers or the users can optimize memory usage and improve the performance of their programs. It also helps to ensure data integrity, whereby using the correct type of data ensures that the data that is stored is processed correctly. Also, knowing the types of data we have will allow us or help us to know how to perform operations correctly because different types of data support different operations. For example, you can perform arithmetic operations on numbers but not on text. So, understanding the types of data helps programmers use the correct operations for the data they are working with. Or in general, using the correct type of data for any particular program makes the code more readable and even more understandable. So in Python, broadly speaking, the types of data in Python are either numbers or texts. Now, under the numbers, we have the integers, the floats, and the complex numbers. And under the text, we have the strings, the Boolean, and the non-type data. So let's head over to the code editor and explain all this in detail. So for the numbers, we have the integers, the floats, and the complex numbers. So first, what are integers? Integers are whole numbers such as 1, 0, 10, 12, etc. So they can be either positive or negative, but do not have a decimal point. So that should be noted. Integers do not have a decimal point. So let's get to this now. So if I type a number 12 and execute this program, I'm not going to see anything on the screen. By writing this number on the screen and pressing this button for it to run, so I'm not seeing anything about the type of data on the screen. So for me to know that, I have to wrap this data around a Python function which is called type. So I'm going to wrap this around the type function. So type function and I click enter. Wow, but I'm not seeing anything on the screen yet. So the next function we are going to also learn is the print function. So this only tells the type of the data, but you have not told the interpreter to print the results to you on the screen. So you need to also wrap this whole thing or this whole data round or with the print function. So let me also wrap this around the print function. And then here's the answer. So it means that the data that we wrapped around the type function and we want to process is of class int. Int is integer in Python. So it means that 12, which we wrapped around this function, is of class integer. So we can also test this. Sorry. So we can also try to check out other numbers like, let's say, minus 2, and also run this. It's also of class int. So this explains what integers are in Python. So integers are numbers that do not have a decimal part. So now what are floats? Floats are numbers that have decimal points, such as 3.142 minus 0.001, etc. The numbers can also be either negative or positive, just like integers. But the difference is that they must have a decimal part. So I can actually convert this into a float by putting a decimal point and then a number. And then if I try to check the type of this data, you'll see that it is of class float or type float. So floating point numbers or floats are numbers that have a decimal part, and they can also be either negative or positive. I can also do whatever number I put here, and then run this program, is of class float or type float. So type or class are the same in Python. You can take note of that, please. So the next type of data that are numbers are the complex numbers. So the complex numbers are numbers that have real and imaginary parts represented in the form of a plus bj, where a is the real part and b is the imaginary part. So j is an imaginary number or unit that represents the square root of -1. For example, you can have 1 plus 2j, which is a complex number with a real part of 1 and an imaginary part of 2. So complex numbers can be represented also in this form. So let's remove this. Let me delete this and try to write an example of a complex number. So let me say 23 plus 5j, and let me see what the type of this data is. So you can see it is of class complex, meaning it's a complex number. So also complex numbers can also have only an imaginary part. Wherefore I can even just delete this number before the 5j. I need to put that bracket, else I would have an error in the program. And then let me run this. So it is also of class complex. So in this case, it automatically means that this is same as 0 plus 5j. So complex numbers are majorly used by the scientists and engineers to study vibrations and quantum mechanics. So as a basic programmer, you may not really be needing the complex numbers, but it's something that you may need to know as a type of data that exists in Python. So next we move to the text data. So the first in the list of text are strings. So string is a character that is enclosed in a single or double quote in Python, such as Z, W, and all these texts I'm printing for you on the screen. So what strings are used for are basically for storing and manipulating text data, such as names, messages, or any sequence of characters. So let's check this out. Let me delete all this and we can even start from, so let's say print first. We want to print, and we also want to check the type of the data. Okay, so we enclose it in a single quote. So if I want to check the type of this now, so it is of class string. So it is of class string because the number or the text is inside the quotes. So I can also do that for other characters like a, and check this out. So it's of class string. So let me also do for double quotes and see what that will give me. And so let me try for double quotes. You can see automatically I have the opening and closing quotes. So but if by default you deleted it, you can also just go back and type that into the program so you don't have an error. So in this case, let me also type this one. So this is also of class string. So any number or any text that is in a quote in Python is what? A string. So the next we have as text are the booleans. So the booleans represents conditional values. So the only two boolean data we have are the true and false keywords. So booleans are special text and are not enclosed in quotes like strings. So they are written in proper case, meaning that their first character is always in uppercase while the others are in lowercase. So once the true or the false is written in Python, Python automatically understands that they are Boolean values. So let's just check this out. Let me delete this and write the keyword true. So automatically you can see that once this true is complete, you can see that the text has now turned to somehow that should be pink, right? So the text has actually been highlighted to show that it is a recognized keyword in Python. So if I run this now to see the class or the type of this keyword, I will see that it is of class bool. Bool meaning booleans. So the next also is the keyword false. It also has changed to somehow pink or purple, right? I don't know, but you can check that out. So that's also of class bool. And these are the only two keywords that are present in the boolean type of data. If I want to do this and change the font to a lowercase, automatically Python will give me an error because false, you can see it's saying false is not defined. False is not defined. So do you mean false? Because automatically it understands that this is not a valid keyword in Python. So the next text data we have is a non-type data. So the non-type data is a special type of data in Python that represents the absence of a value. It is often used as a placeholder for a value that will be determined later or as a result of an undefined or invalid operation. The only data in this class is the keyword none. So just like the booleans, the non keyword must also be in proper case before Python can recognize that it is the data that you are talking about. So let's just try to give example of the keyword. So it must also start with a capital letter and this. And then let me try to move my keyboard and run this program. So it is of class non-type or of type non-type, and this is the only type of data that is in the class non-type. So here are some exercises I've given to you right now. So try to sort out this data into the types of data it belongs. I've also included some invalid data so you can actually try to know which is which. And here are the answers. I hope you got them all. If you did, congratulations. If you didn't, you can rewind the video or go in the comments and ask questions for places that you did not understand. I hope forward to hearing from you. So, as a recap, we basically have either numbers or text as data that we feed into Python. And the numbers can either be integers, floats, or complex numbers, while the text can be strings, the booleans, or the non-type data. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do like and subscribe to the channel. I can't wait to have you again in the next class. Thank you.